Hello, my name is Chris, and this is next update of the game Balanus. Today I will present you several major features that were added to the game. Among them there will be aspect system, religions, technology system, and theaters of war. At the end I will present the roadmap for the remaining development of the game. Let's start with aspect system. Aspects are representing forces of the nature, state of the environment, forces of attraction, and many more things that exist in the world of Balanus. In this world, everything is aspected, meaning every object, person, country, or even time is aspected towards these forces. One can be aspected toward each of aspects in four ways: positive and negative, neutral, and none at all. Positive and negative aspectation are pretty much other sides of the same coin. Neutral aspectation is just the middle of that coin. For one that is not being aspected, meaning the coin does not exist. In total, there are 26 primal aspects. You can see that each of them has different description, it has different positive and negative connotation, but also it has affectation of some of these technologies. We'll talk about technologies a little bit later. Religions. Religions are now represented on the world map. Each tile can be converted to one of four major religions, but can have the fifth state, which is lack of all of them. Whenever a kingdom rules over a certain tile, it will try to convert it to their own religion. Countries benefit from religion, and it is the best for them that people believe in their own religion. But even if dominant is foreign, a country can still benefit from it based on the alignment rate. There is no gain from tiles following no religion, as the alignment is always zero for them. Technology system enhancements. That brings us to the biggest change: technology system. Country can now develop 5 technologies: harnessing, describing the ways of acquiring resources; warfare, responsible for the art of war; psyche, representing will and brilliance of the mind; governance, representing strength of ruling and effectiveness in using available resources; arcana, describing knowledge of aspects, how to control and make use of them. Technology development is a constant progress that benefits from many sources. The gain is strictly tied to the aspects these sources are bound to. For some of these sources, existing technologies can provide additional bonuses. Court itself is a main source of the technology, which benefits from it even if the kingdom have no land on the continent. Religion is based on the actual tiles and their religion, so initially only the empire is benefiting from it. Strong fortification help to improve the craftsmanship of war and building. Owning specialized terrain within own kingdom also helps development of technologies. Structure style, representing huge agglomerations, affects all technologies as they tend to be central part of every aspect of the world. Finally, there are some state effects that can boost the technology growth. For the empire, however, as the crisis grows, it might become harmful. Technologies affects everything a kingdom does. There are 2 types of bonuses technology brings: scaling bonuses, that scales with the level of the technology, and unlocks, which are unlocked once and then the kingdom can benefit from it for the rest of the game. A good example of the scaling bonus are offensive and defensive powers. Before this update, they were based purely on wealth, fortification, devastation, and manpower that tile have. Now, technologies and theaters affect them as well. We'll come back to theaters in a minute. For unlocks, units are most important ones. The list of available units is different for each kingdom. Based on technologies, kingdoms will have access to wider portfolio of units, which will make them stronger during strategic map campaigns. There are other unlocks like amount of targets or theaters, but eventually also buildings extensions for the strategic map will use the same system. Theaters of War. Theater of War is a new feature that represents a focus of the kingdom towards a specific tile. Such theater can be moved to any tile every 24 months, but that time can be reduced by developing warfare technology. What is more difficult is to unlock access to theaters. Kingdom receive a theater for each 10 in some of warfare and governance technologies. Most of the invaders will not have initial access to this sophisticated war tool. If a tile has theater, its offensive and defensive powers are increased heavily. If a tile is being conquered next to theater, theater moves to the conquered tile without using the normal 24 months delay. For experienced kingdom, that will allow to make a swift breaching attack through enemy lines. That was all what was added in last 2 months. As these were last big features missing in the game, I will now focus on bringing the game to Steam Early Access. Adding all features doesn't mean they are finished. I like to work in incremental steps, and most of the features will require some more work and consultations with players. However, now I can focus in make the game actual game, meaning it can be played through from start to finish, saved and loaded again, and things like that. So now let's talk about roadmap for a second. Before early alpha, I'm still planning to finish adding Barot, which is a Balanus tarot that will be used for predicting the future. Gamification. By this term, I mean focusing on player having fun and abilities to affect the game by player. I will be expanding existing features and making more synergies between them. I will improve graphics and UI. I will add info box showing selected information from the world as news for the player. Very important thing will be improving wardens and generals in strategic map and their AI. Of course, I will be testing the game and providing bug fixes. Then, when we will reach early alpha, before the game will be finally released as 1.0, I will focus on balancing the units and kingdoms, adding more features, bug fixes. I will be adjusting gamifications features, improving units abilities, improving and expanding AI of strategic units. I will add prisoner management, and I will improve world map generation. After 1.0, the future updates will be based purely on the interest from players. If there will be no to very little interest, I will only provide bug fixes and I will start moving to other games. However, if there will be a small interest about the game, I will provide map generation 2.0 of both world and strategic maps, court members' abilities. I will add magic system, which will be spells for court members and for the player, based on the aspects of the game. I will add artifact system, which will allow customization of court members and special unique items for them. I will add relations, which will allow to modify relations between kingdoms and smaller factions. I will add ethics supports, which will be more customization for the kingdom's policies. If we'll receive medium interest about the game, I will add an extension which is basically called Monsters, which would be a big framework about monsters being side activity for the conquest. And Syndicate, That's another big framework about the criminal small factions like pirates, bandits and Vikings. And I will add a life extension, which will be an expansion to the court members, allowing them to die, being assassinated, harmed, etc. If we'll receive huge interest about the game, I will eventually add adventures extension, which will add the adventures and quests, caravanserai, which would simulate life of a trader in this world, and gladiator, that will add sports and festivals to cities and tiles in this world. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening and have a nice day. Bye.